Hey everybody, this is OD Trey, and I'm here because I'm thinking about making YouTube videos and streaming again. Specifically because of this game Wayfinder. Wayfinder is from the developers Airship Syndicate and Digital Extreme. The actual devs are Airship Syndicate, Digital Extremes are the publishers, um, and I'm just I'm a fan of both of these companies' content, and so I'm kind of excited to see where we go. I don't have any new footage to show anybody. Everything that you see here is just on the web page, and I'm just going to talk about it because I'm excited and I want to make a video on it. All right, it's that simple. So let's not procrastinate any longer. Let's jump into Wingrave. Wingrave is going to be our tanky boy. Um, Says a lot about defense and support. This offense is just generally talking about his abilities don't have a lot of offense, but this is not indicative of how he will play. You give him a two-handed weapon, he's going to deal as much damage as other people with two-handed weapons, right? That's just how the game works. So don't take any of these little bonuses up here as like the end all be all of the character. It's just kind of a base of their abilities. So the first one is we've got Righteous Strike. Actually, before I even jump into that, let's talk about his passive. Melee finishers heal Wingrave and one nearby ally. So anytime he finishes a combo, he will heal himself and a nearby ally. That's just a nice passive heal he's always got going on. This ability we're seeing right here over and over again, this is the Righteous Strike. This is his first ability. Hitting an enemy causes an explosion of healing energy to shoot out and heal Wingrave and nearby allies. So this is just your attack. It's pretty much the primary ability you're going to be using when you're using abilities, as it does a little bit of everything. Does some damage, does some healing. It's nice. Easy peasy. Radiant Pulse. I really like this ability. Pretty much what it does is it provides a shield that blocks projectiles and boosts the defense of allies standing behind it. That's just cool. But the thing I really like about it is that you'll notice that a wave of energy shoots out from the shield as well. That deals damage. So it's got a nice AoE nuke that you can use, as well as providing anti projectiles. And projectiles can hurt in this game. I'll tell you that much. All right, let's check this one out. Oh, Judgment. All right, so this is, I believe, the taunt as well as a debuff on the enemies that makes it so that anytime anyone attacks these enemies that have the debuff on them, they get healed. It's just, again, a nice team supportive ability. Allows you to just go through, jump into a group of enemies, debuff them all, everybody stays topped off. Finally, his ultimate ability, Divine Aegis. It's pretty much a bubble that makes everyone standing in it immune to damage and heals them over time. So you'll see a common theme between everything here. The first ability heals, the passive heals, the shield blocks damage, the taunt heals, and the ultimate heals. Guy's got a lot of healing built into his kit. And that's where these defensive and supportive stats come from. You'll notice that there's not a lot of offense in it. Not a lot of damage boosting that happens. That's why this thing's slow. But that doesn't mean that he can't deal damage. Every Wayfinder in this game can use any weapon. You can have Wingrave with a rifle, right? You can have him with the great axe. Like, it doesn't matter. All of them work. Um, uh, they just start with the sword and shield on them. But you will kind of be able to choose your playstyle and what works best for you. All right, let's go check out some of the other characters here. I'm not going to be going into their backstory as I don't actually know much about their lore. That's not what I'm excited about. I'm excited about the gameplay. All right, so we have Silo. The tactician, this is the guy who starts with the gun. He's got a lot of control, some defense, support, range. Again, so this is just what they kind of start off with, but like you can give Wingrave the gun and he's going to be long range. You can give Silo like the daggers and he's going to be melee range. Like And then this means a whole lot less. So again, take it with a grain of salt. All right, so let's start off with the passive. Deal bonus melee and range damage to enemies that are debuffed. All right, easy enough. So he's just got damage boosts. Next up, we got the firebomb. Toss a firebomb that ignites enemies, dealing damage over time. Causes a chain reaction with oil bomb. All right, so you just throw a bomb, does damage, puts a dot on them. Oil bomb. This is oil bomb. And then I believe you throw a firebomb right here. There it is. Causes a chain reaction, causing all the oil to explode. But the oil bomb just slows enemies, and they'll take additional damage. The clone. I love this ability. I think this ability is fantastic. Pretty much he shoots out a clone that taunts the enemies, and it you'll notice that there's like a little vacuum thing that happens right there at the beginning, which is also fantastic. So dash backwards, leaving behind a radiant clone. The clone will taunt nearby enemies into attacking it until it expires or is destroyed. But like I said, what isn't said in that is this little vacuum that happens. So you'll see it, whoop. Really good for grouping people up for your bomb, for your oil bomb into your firebomb combo. Very, very good. All right, and then finally we have the Silo sends out egg to shock enemies in an area for a short time, slowing them and dealing damage over time. So this is applying a debuff. Pretty much everything he's doing here is applying a debuff. We have a taunt debuff, we have slow debuff, we have burn debuff, and then we have another slow debuff and the damage over time. All of these are building off of this strategic advantage bonus that he's got here. Starts off with the a gun, and yeah, I mean, the big thing about this character, the thing I really liked about it, is when melee characters had to be running around avoiding mechanics, generally, you were able to sit back and kind of do your own thing. Again, that was just built off of because of the weapon choice. If you grab the gun on a different character, it's they're going to be able to play back as well. But he's really has the tools to kind of to kite, and with the slowing area, the ranged attacks on abilities are all very, very useful for that. Next up, let's see what we got here. Nis. All right, so Nis is the character I played the most. I specifically like Nis because I like mobility. And Nis has an abundance of mobility. It shows very little control here. I don't think any of Nis's abilities has any control into it. Yeah, so low defense, just pretty much only an offensive character, right? Let's go for the passive. After dodging, gain attack power for a short duration. I think it's just damage. I'm not actually sure. But Shadow Step. Dash in a line, dealing damage after a short delay. A Gloom clone will dash from your initial position to you, dealing damage to enemies. Now, this is such a good skill. One, it's a lot of mobility. What they have going on here with this camera view, the reason why it looks so good is because you can lock on to enemies. And this is the lock-on view, and that's why the camera responds so well to that dash and, staying behind you. But you could also do it without being locked on. I'll talk more about that in just a second, but it's just really good damage, very powerful spell. All right. Umbral Aura. This is empowered by Umbral magic, causing her next 3 dodges to pierce a nearby enemy with a shadow. This also affects her allies for a reduced amount, but you'll notice that spike of energy that comes up whenever she dashes. Important note about this is it's not just dodging. It is like her first ability. This is also a dash, so it would also trigger it. Her third ability, this is also a dash, so it will also trigger it. Right? Briefly become immune to all attacks, damaging enemies in front of Nis. Very cool ability. Probably my least favorite ability. But those iframes are extremely nice. And then finally, the Gloom Shroud. For the next few seconds, the first ability can be used at no cost. So it just pretty much has no cooldown. That's what that means. So this is why having the locked camera thing is so good, and this is why it looks so cinematic here while she's dashing back and forth, is because when you just want to spam that first button, like you have a big boss with a lot of health, you could press that, lock on, and just go ham. I really love it. The character has, it's not even the damage of the character that I like. It's just the feel of the character from all this mobility. I kind of I hope that I'm able to kind of create a tank version of her. Where there's a benefit to all this mobility and kind of almost like an evasion tank type character. I don't know if anything is going to exist that allows her to do that. I do know that some of the things that people talked about were the upgrades that you could do to your character called echoes, and some of them had like special abilities on them. Now, I didn't see any special abilities like this, but if I had a wish for one, it would be a taunt. Like one that would trigger when you'd use your ability. Let's say that you could give it to any character and it'd be like using your first ability causes nearby enemies to become taunted. Awesome. Because that would allow you, like anybody, to gain a taunt even if they don't have one built into their character. So if you wanted to tank and you weren't a character that had a built-in taunt, you still had the ability to do it. Because I feel like all these invulnerability frames could be super cool when combined with a taunt. Why does it look like he gets taunted? I'm talking about a taunt. Look, in this right here, right after she casts it, he gets the marks above his head. Is that not a taunt mark? I don't know. Anyways, next character. I love this character. I can't wait for her. Senja. So Senja is the other character that's the same class type as Wingrave. But she focuses a little bit more on offense, I believe. So let's go into her passive. Crowd favorite. Holding Gladiator Pummel and gain favor abilities will cause Senja to showboat. While showboating, she cannot be staggered, takes reduced damage, and increases the crowd's favor. As the crowd's favor increases, Senja gains attack damage and ability power. So pretty much as she charges her abilities, they help increase all of her damage. So let's go ahead and jump in to this first ability. We have Gladiator Pummel, punch forward, then hold to showboat. On release, she punches again, buffs her next weapon attack. Fully showboating increases the damage of the follow-up punch. So let's see that one right there. That is just a tap version, and then that was a semi-hold version, and this is the full hold version. They actually do a really awesome job of showing them all there. So that's the quick tap, that's the short hold, this is the long hold. The longer you hold it, I love the theatrics of like how she's doing her abilities. Like when she, has that ear there listening for the crowd. It's really awesome. This is gain favor. This is the other ability that she can charge. Hold to showboat for the roaring crowd, filling your favor. On release, taunt nearby enemies while buffing Senja and her allies. So again, this is a war cry, right? But it's a war cry that also the longer she charges it, the bigger the buff is. All right. Lightning Grasp. Use lightning to pull all displaceable enemies towards Senja in a large area. I think they're just saying just pulls everything in front of you that can be pulled. Nice little cone grab. This is a staple on a lot of tank characters, right? Having that group up ability. Um, Wingrave has far more like supportive abilities than this. He doesn't really have this. This is a great offensive ability because you can stack all the enemies up for someone like Silo to start dropping their AoEs. Very cool. And finally, grand finale. In the form of a lightning spear sent to charges to smash her enemy, dealing massive damage to them and fully filling her crowd's favor. So this is like, once you've built it up, this is a great way to initiate a boss fight, right? Or like it's something nice to have after like a boss phase. Like they phase out, they run around, you lose a bunch of your favor, and instead of having to waste time building it up again, you chuck the spear, which is you become the spear. And you teleport there and you do your nice big punch and fill up your meter so that you're ready to pump out all the DPS. Again, this character can use any weapon type. Next up, actually that's the last character that I could talk about that I actually like saw and played. I don't know anything about this character. We can go over his abilities, but again, we're gonna see all this offense here. Grain of salt this. Let's see what the passive is supposed to be. Generate arcane fragments by using Siphon Radiant on enemies and landing combo finishers. Arcane fragments are automatically consumed to grant extra charges of Savage Rake. Okay. So Savage Rake is your first ability. What's the other one? Siphon Radiant. Use your second ability. So what this seems to be is the passive is built off of the second ability. Release a wave of energy around Kairos that damages enemies and absorbs arcane power, reducing the cooldowns and granting an arcane fragment. Let's see. Oh, is that these little bubbles? Yeah. So you see this little purple bubble down here? And then he started with one, and then after he used the ability, he had two. Okay. So let's look at the first ability. This is the Savage Rake. Rakes the ground with violent energy, dealing damage to all enemies in front of Kairos. Arcane fragments can be consumed to cast Savage Rake at no cost. So as we can see here, these little bubbles. He's got two of them. He casts it once, casts it twice, and he's able to do the double slash. And so that cost him nothing. I'm guessing that it's still not on cooldown. After that, this is just for visual reference. And if it's got one charge, then having three charges of this would, or like three of these arcane bubbles, would allow you to cast it 4 times in a row. All right, let's check the next one. Arcane Focus marks enemies in the area. As enemies are hit, the mark builds up in power and detonates at max or when it expires. Okay, so it's a debuff that you put on enemies that it just builds up damage when you deal damage, which is just going to make you deal some extra damage at the end of it. Nothing crazy about Arcane Focus, but it's probably super, super good in a like group scenario. Lastly, Shockwave. Conjure shock and awe from the sky, resulting in a gigantic fist dealing massive damage, or massive area damage. All right, let's see this. Oh yeah, looks more like a claw than a fist to me, right? Yeah, I see a claw slap the ground. All right, just big area nuke. That's fine. Nothing wrong with it. I don't actually, like I said, I don't have a lot to say about this character. This is one of the characters I'm most excited to play. As I wanted to be kind of like a ranged mage, but then I played Nis and I loved her mobility. And as you can see, this guy does not have any mobility skills, so that makes Nis kind of my go-to here. Finally, there is one last character that isn't shown here, and all we know is the character's name is redacted. I'm just kidding. That's not the character's name. But we don't have any information on this character yet. But we know that there is another character. what I would have really loved is if they kind of put the characters with their counterparts. So like Wingrave and Senja are like counterparts. Um, Silo and Redacted are counterparts, and Nis and Kairos are counterparts. That's kind of my understanding of it. I could be wrong, but I think that's the way that it works. Um, like these two fill a similar role, right? These two fill a similar role, and Silo and this character will fill a similar role. All right, well, that's all I really have. I'm so excited for this. I didn't really know the best way to go about, making a video on Wayfinders, as I don't have any of my own footage to show yet. Hopefully, I'll like soon we'll have the ability to start streaming this. And the second that we do, I will be making content on it and streaming it and having a blast. I enjoyed the closed beta very much. It was awesome. I think I played like 60 hours in that closed beta, so I really liked it. All right, thank you all for stopping by and watching, and I hope to talk more about this game soon. I'll see you later. Bye.